Welcome back to Betting with Benny here with the AFC East betting preview for the 2022 NFL season. It has been a long time since I got a chance to sit down and talk to you guys. Want to give a shout out to everybody watching the show right now, not only on our YouTube channel here at FTN, but also out on the Game Plus network throughout this beautiful country and the beautiful country of Canada as well. As you guys know, we usually go game by game, go through all of the games at each week, but it's the beginning of August. And although they are getting closer, we don't really have any football games to talk about this week. So what we're going to start with here is a betting preview. We're going to go division by division. We're going to break down all the teams. We're going to break down all the odds. We're going to break down a lot of the things that these teams did in the offseason to try to get themselves to be the division winners, to be the conference winners, to be the Super Bowl winners here this year in 2022. Now, there are a couple changes here to Betting with Benny for the 2022 season, and I want to bring in the first and biggest change that we have here. We got a new producer on the show this year, my man, my brother from another mother, Deqwan Young.
I'm here, man. I'm excited to be on Betting with Benny, excited to work with you. I'm excited for football season. Look, I love the summer just like anybody else. You know, girls out wearing next to nothing. That's one of my favorite seasons, but I love the fall. I love football, and this is my second year actually betting. So I'm excited to actually turn a profit and listening to Betting with Benny and being on this show. I know I'm going to learn a lot of things. You taught me a lot about betting last year. So I'm looking to take all of that, and we're gonna get some money. That's my goal this season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting money is always the goal for whatever we have this season. But again, like you said, the other thing we want to do here on this show is make sure everybody understands, you know, betting is not easy. Even when you have all this information that we have access to over at FTN Bets and FTN Data and FTN Fantasy that we could use to help make better decisions here, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to make a profit here. So what you want to make sure you're doing is getting your money down in the best of those situations, avoiding the bad situations, staying away from some of the traps, and knowing what the difference between those good situations and those bad situations is. And that's what we're going to try to help you out with here. So the first thing I want to do here, like I said, we're going to go division by division through the month of August until we get to the games that actually are starting in September. And then we'll go back to doing what we did in 2021. The Monday, Sunday video will be breaking down all of the look-ahead lines for the week. The Friday video, when me and Quan get back here, we're going to be talking some prop bets. We're going to be talking some anytime touchdown scores. We're going to be talking a lot of the fun stuff that I know a lot of people are looking to get their money down. So you look at Quan, you saw the big smile on Quan's face. He knows what I'm talking about. You know, prop betting has become such a thing right now in the NFL that's one of the things we're going to talk about. But for today, like I said, we want to start off with the AFC East. Go team by team. We're going to go through the entire division. We're going to give you guys everything that you need to know. Everything Jets related, everything Bills related, everything Dolphins related, everything's Patriots related. And we'll get into the numbers here in a second. But before we do, Quan, let me ask you a question. Last year, Buffalo Bills win this division. New England Patriots, the last week of the season, locked up that other playoff spot in this division. And the Miami Dolphins, the last week of the season, got knocked out. Now, my New York Jets never had a shot, so it didn't matter what happened the last week of the season in New York. But this was a division where you got two teams in last year. You have three teams that are knocking on the door that could probably get in this year. What are your thoughts on the AFC East? How do you see this playing out? Before we take a look at any of the lines, just right off the top of your head, give me your thoughts on the AFC East this year.
Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl, not champions, but they will be there. I think what we saw last season with them going head-to-head with Kansas, they were a coin flip away. And I think with Josh Allen building on what he's been doing in Buffalo is great. And the emergence of Gabriel Davis in that game, you want to see how it translates into this season. I think that they are the team to beat in the AFC because everybody out west is going to beat each other up. And then off the top of my head, like, I don't think Cincinnati's going to be able to repeat what they did. So I think Buffalo is going to be in the Super Bowl at this point.
You know, you have a lot of what you said here is right in line with the way a lot of the sports books and a lot of the sports bettors are kind of looking at it. And we're going to get into those numbers right here. I will say one thing that hasn't changed and makes me feel good that it hasn't changed because, you know, there are certain things in life that, you know, it's like a warm blanket. You just know it's going to happen every year and you're there. Of the teams in the AFC East, there's only one team that people really don't think have a chance to win anything this year. and that's my New York Jets. And I know everybody out there knows I'm a Jets fan. Benny and the Jets, I was born into it. There's not much I could have done about it. That's it. I mean, listen, my mom and my aunts all sung that song to me when I was a baby. There's pictures of it and video and all that good stuff. So, like I said, I was kind of born into it. But listen, it builds character, right? That's what I keep telling my kid. I made my kid a Jets fan as well. 13 years old. He's a Jets fan right now. He keeps saying to me, Dad, we're going to win. This is our year. I was like, buddy, I've been saying that for 41 years right now, that this is our year. Sooner or later, we're going to be right there, right?
Right, yeah.
You know, as you say in betting, right? Like we're due. As a Jets fan, I can tell you guys we're overdue. With that being said, 2022 is not going to be the New York Jets year to be due for much of anything here. But it could be somebody else's year to be due. And we're going to take a quick commercial break right here. And we come back, we're going to do a deep dive into all the teams in the AFC East, give you guys the best odds, find out which books have them, and show you guys how you can make some money when we're back on Betting with Ben. Welcome back to the AFC East betting preview here on Betting with Benny, presented by FTN Bets and available on the Game Plus Network. So what we're going to do here, just to break it down for you guys who are new to the show and those of you who haven't watched us do these previews before, what we're going to do is we're going to go team by team through all the teams. We're going to give the odds for them to how many games that they're going to win this year. We're going to give the odds on whether or not they're going to win the AFC East. We're going to give their odds on if they win the AFC. We're going to give their odds to win the Super Bowl, which for my Jets is a much bigger number than the number for the Buffalo Bills, who actually have a chance to win the Super Bowl this year. So that's the way we're going to go. We're going to go through all those teams. And then at the end of the show, if we have a little bit of time left, I'm going to go over some of the player prop plays that I like for the season that you guys should have in mind. Tie it all up in a nice little bow right here, and then Quan and I are going to go and have a couple beers and figure out where we're going to put our money for the AFC East. Agree? Sound good to you, Quan?
Let's go.
Cool. Let's call up that chart. Let's throw that chart up there. Let's take a look at some of these odds and everything that we have. Buffalo, last year's champions of the AFC East, were 11-6. They are minus 225 to win the division this year. Jeff Ratcliffe has them projected for 11.6 wins this year on our FTN Bets win total projection. So you guys can get over there and check it out. He does a win total projection for every team in the NFL. And then you guys can look at the difference between what his win total projection is and what the number that's being offered out there in the betting market is. So right now, the number that we see, the consensus number, because there's some places you can find it a little lower, some places you can find it a little different. But the consensus number out there on the market for the Buffalo Bills is 11.5 wins this year. And the over is actually juiced up right now at minus 130, Quan. Minus 130, meaning they're giving the Buffalo Bills a 56% chance to win more than 11.5 football games this year. How do you feel about that?
I think I looked at their schedule early, and man, I think they played the NFC North, and I mean, you're looking at that's 2 wins you can automatically count against the Jets. So man, I would take the over in that completely. I mean, I know it's juice, but like I said, if you're looking at the books and the way that they're looking at the Buffalo Bills, they got Josh Allen as a favorite to win the MVP. You know, this is the team that I think everybody, what are they in the to win the AFC? They're plus 350.
Plus 350. They are actually the shortest price team to win the AFC at plus 350. That number is available on FanDuel. Plus 350 equates to about a 22% chance is what the books are giving them to be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl here. Super Bowl odds even plus 650. That's the second shortest price. Shortest price in the AFC, second shortest price overall against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are actually the shortest price, somewhere around like 300-400 right there. Green Bay is kind of low. Defending champion Los Angeles Rams are kind of down there as well. But Buffalo is an even shorter price than the Kansas City Chiefs. Understandable with the Chiefs having, some changes, especially one big change on the outside that we will be talking about in a little bit when we get to that Miami team. But like I said, 69% chance is what they're being given to win the AFC East here. Minus 225 is the number that equates to that. You can find that on both DraftKings and BetMGM is where that minus 225 number is. I actually did see, and I don't know if this just happened today or maybe it happened yesterday because we put these slides together yesterday. I did see a minus 200 for them to win the AFC East today over on PointsBet. So PointsBet actually now has the best price on Buffalo to win the AFC East at minus 200. Plus 350, that number is available at FanDuel. Best place you can play that for them to win the AFC. And then the Super Bowl number of plus 650 FanDuel and PointsBet are the two that have them up at plus 650. Their odds are even lower than that on the other books that are out there right now. So plus 650 is the best number you can get out there in the market for FanDuel and PointsBet. And like my man Quan said, Quan likes them to be the AFC representative. Plus 350 right there. You can get 3.5 to 1 on your money if you like the Buffalo Bills over on FanDuel. And remember, ftnbets.com/sportsbooks. That'll get you guys access to all of the deposit bonuses and everything else that's being offered. If you don't have an account on FanDuel and you need to sign up over there, get up over there before the football season starts. You will not regret it, especially if you're going to watch me and Quan every week talk about football and betting. So let's go to the next team here. Let's pull up the next team, which is the New England Patriots. 10-7 last year, made the playoffs. They are, this is interesting here, Quan. So let me ask you this about the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots at 10-7 this year, their odds are actually below the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are actually a shorter price to win the division. They're a shorter price to win the AFC. They're a shorter price to win the Super Bowl. Now, we talked about that big addition that they made by bringing in Tyreek Hill last year, or this year, I should say. What do you think? Do you think the Miami Dolphins have done enough to push them ahead of the New England Patriots this year?
I don't think so. I think we still got to see what Mike McDaniel is going to bring to the table. Tyreek Hill is the big factor that, we want to see. We saw that underthrow Tua had in I guess routes on air, and they've been talking about it doing a PR run all summer. Tua can throw the ball deep, and that's what they're trying to see. But I think we need to see what Mike McDaniel is going to do with that offense. And if Tua can, I question his durability sometimes. He hasn't played all 16, 17 games in the season.
You know what I think is funny, because you kind of mentioned it too, the press blitz. I forget the exact words that you use for it right now.
Yeah, PR run. Yeah.
The more I hear people saying, Tyreek Hill even himself saying like, "Well, I got a better quarterback this year." Over
propaganda.
Holmes, like, I agree with you. I think it's pure. You know what? There's a lot of propaganda coming out of Florida lately, and that might be the worst of it all that I've been hearing right now. I don't understand that whatsoever. I mean, listen. I like Tua. I liked Tua when he was in college. I thought he was a guy that, was going to have a bright future in the NFL. People forget, but before he got injured, this was a guy that most people were expecting to be like the consensus #1 overall pick. Like, it was the Tua lottery, right? Everybody was like,
tank for Tua.
That's it. Exactly. Tank for Tua. All that good stuff there. So again, I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think we've seen the best of Tua, but I do think it's a little premature to put him ahead of a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who we've seen for a couple of years do it at a very high level here. But like I said, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that, because that was something that was interesting to me when I was looking through this. Jeff Ratcliffe actually has the Patriots projected for 8.9 wins this year, the Miami Dolphins projected for 8.3. And this was after the Tyreek Hill trade and all that. So all of that information is factored into the numbers that we have here. But when you look at the sports books out there, let me throw these numbers out there for you. The Patriots number is 8.5 wins, right? And the over is paying -115. So like 53% chance they're giving them to go over 8.5 wins. You look at the Dolphins number, the Dolphins over 8.5. The best price you can get on them right now is -130 over on BetMGM. So at -130, you're talking like 54, 55%, I think, something like that. So they're actually giving the Miami Dolphins a better chance to get to that 9-win number than they are the New England Patriots. And as we know from last year, every team that had 10 wins last year made it into the playoffs. 9 is that number where, you're going to have a couple teams that make it and a couple teams that don't at 9. With the new 17-game season, it's kind of moved up a little bit of the, the target number that you're shooting for in order to make the playoffs here. So when you see that there, like I said, you have to make a decision. I love Bill Belichick. I think he's one of the best coaches in football. His teams are always going to be ready. Whatever game plan they run is always going to be the correct game plan to attack whatever team they're playing on whatever side of the ball they're running it on. With that being said, though, I think it comes to the point now where you look at the rosters and you start going piece by piece throughout the rosters. Miami does have the more talented roster than New England, right?
I still think the Patriots defense is what puts them over the top.
Understandable.
I would trust Belichick more than the first-year head coach. I know McDaniel, he's been around the league for a while, but I one thing that I will never do is doubt Kill Bill. And
well, I mean, listen, that's what I'm saying though, is like, to me, I think you can make an argument that Miami has the better talent on their roster. Yeah. But the difference is Bill Belichick. That's the difference between these two teams. I could see New England wind up with 10 or 11 wins this year because they're going to win some games that people are like, oh, I didn't think they were going to win that game.
Yeah, they're dogs.
And the other thing is they are not going to lose any of the games that people say, oh, man, I can't. You never say, oh, man, I can't believe New England lost that game. I can't believe New England didn't come to play, wasn't ready, wasn't there. That never really happens with the Patriots. With Miami, again, you have some new pieces. You have some new coaches there. You have some new things there. I don't know if that's exactly going to be the same old Dolphins. Like it's, we say the same old Jets is like a big thing there. I don't know if it's going to be the same old Dolphins or if they're going to play a little bit better this year, be a little bit more disciplined and, finish games that they're supposed to finish. But I know the Patriots are always going to make the right play and the smart play when they need to make it. And I'm never going to count that team out, whether it's Tom Brady at quarterback or anybody else in there at quarterback for them, with Mac Jones kind of taking a step forward. And that's the other thing that makes it so hard for me. You have the Patriots, you have Miami. I don't know if Mac Jones is going to take a step forward. I don't know if Tua is going to take a step forward. Maybe one of them takes a bigger step forward than the other one, and that winds up being the difference. So I think these two teams are very evenly matched. I think both of these teams are right on the brink of being playoff teams. I think the over on both of them is where the sports bettors and the sports books are kind of leaning, with them both getting to 9 wins or more, with both of them having a 8.5 win kind of consensus here. And then even when you look at the odds for them to win, the best odds you can get on the Patriots to win the AFC East is plus 500. The best odds you can get on Miami, plus 450. So, I mean, between those two teams, you're looking at what, like a 16% and an 18% chance to win the division? Basically the same right there.
You look hitting them implied probabilities, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. The implied probabilities of a 16, 18% there. That's the way you got to look at these numbers right now. I think that's probably right. I think Buffalo has more than a 50% chance of winning this division, which they do. And the number 69 is probably a little high, but, it's 69. It's a good number. Nice. We're good with that. That's fine. We can keep it there. But, you look at these other two teams, and they probably do have less than a 1 in 5 chance to win this division. But I can't really say which one of those two. If things break right, I could see Miami being the better team. If things break another way, I could see New England being the better team. I think they're both going to be right around 500, maybe a little bit over it. I wouldn't doubt if they both go 1-1 against each other, if they both go 2-0 against the Jets, and they both go 0-2 against Buffalo. So, that's kind of the way I see this division playing out here. I think Buffalo is clearly the number 1 team in this division in the hierarchy. Yeah. I think Miami and New England are definitely behind them by a good chunk, but they're both definitely a good chunk ahead of the last team that we're going to talk about here. So throw that graphic up one more time. I will get a chance to talk about my New York Jets. And you can see just by looking at the numbers here, the Jets were 4-13 last year. They are plus 2,400 to win the division. That's a 4% implied probability. They are plus 8,500 or 85 to 1 to win the AFC. That's like a 1.1, 1.2% implied probability to do that. And then 150 to 1 to win the Super Bowl, which is less than a 1% chance there. I don't think any of those numbers are wrong, but I do think the Jets are better this year. Again, I'm a cynical Jets fan, so this is tough, but I do think they're better this year than they were last year. And I think a lot of people would agree with that as well. Jeff Ratcliffe has them projected for 6.8 wins this year, Quan. The number that's out there in the market, I would say the consensus number is probably 6. There's 5.5s in the market. There's 6.5s in the market. The 5.5s are all juiced up, though. The over 5.5 wins on PointsBet, best place you can get over 5.5 wins, it's minus 150. And minus 150, that's saying, and again, as a Jets fan, I'm excited about this, a 60% chance that the Jets win more than 5.5 games this year. That's like unheard of as a Jets fan for me right now. 6-7 wins, like I don't even know what to do with myself. That would mean that we actually have a chance to only have 10 losses this year. It's normally 12, 13, 14, and that's when there were only 16 games. So you're adding a game and you're telling me there's a chance they might not get to 10 losses? That's just crazy to me. But like I said, the number at 5.5, way juiced up, minus 150 over on PointsBet. But when you go up to 6.5, which is the number they have it on MGM, the over 6.5 wins is sitting right now at plus 110, which means that they're giving the Jets about a 47, 48% chance to go over 6.5 wins and get to 7 on MGM. Now, again, as a Jets fan, I'm cynical. Do you think that's a crazy number? I mean, Jeff Ratcliffe has them at 6.8. So
I don't think you should be cynical at all. Let me ask you this. Are you excited for, or were you excited for the draft, and how do they?
Absolutely. I was there, as you know. We did the the show where I was live right from the Meadowlands watching those draft picks. That was a lot of fun. I was very happy with what they did. They walked away with 3 guys I really liked in the first round and another guy that I wasn't sure they needed, but I'm not going to argue with Breece Hall as their pick at the top of the second round.
Always need weapons.
They got 4 guys that I think can make an impact and not just play, but make an impact on this team this year. So I'm happy about that. I think the offensive line is better. The Laken Thompson signing is something that I think people don't realize how good that guy is. Mekhi Becton, if he comes back anywhere near what they expected him to be and can stay healthy, I mean, Elijah Vera Tucker, the guy they got, like the Jets' offensive line is solid this year. Now, again, do they have depth? No. And that's going to be a problem if anybody gets hurt, which, again, during a football season, 17 games, somebody always winds up getting hurt. So you're going to need that next man up to kind of come in there and step up. But I think the offensive line is better. I think the defense is better in basically all 3 levels. I think the skill position players are obviously a lot better with the addition of the rookies in there. So, yes, I'm excited. But, again, being excited from it's a low bar, right? It was a 4-win team last year. So it's a low bar for them to get over here. But, yes, I am excited about the Jets. I would not put money on them to win the Super Bowl, would not put money on them to win the AFC, would not even put money on them to win the AFC East. But over 6.5 wins, maybe. Over 5.5.
I would lean the over on that. I think they addressed the issues on defense. They were one of the worst pass defenses in the league last year. Kayvon Thibodeau going to come in. I think he's going to be a big force off the edge. And then Sauce Gardner, man, listen, it takes time for DBs to learn that curve, but I think he's going to be down the road. He's going to be great. So I think they addressed the issues that they needed to address. And like you said, the offensive line, the addition of Laken Tomlinson is going to be good. And then Mekhi Becton, if he's what he's supposed to be, you give Zach Wilson time to make plays. And that's really all you need. Like, they're in the tough division, but I think they can squeak out some wins.
Listen, you got better skill position players here, but you mentioned it right there. The big thing for the Jets is going to be how big a step forward can Zach Wilson take. And you know what? That's really going to be the difference between whether they're a 7-8 win team or whether they wind up at a 3 or 4 win team again. And on that note, we're going to take another quick break here, and we're going to come back and talk about a few of the interesting individual player awards in the AFC East and some prop bets that we may like here on Betting with Benny. Welcome back to Betting with Benny here for the AFC East betting preview here on FTN Bets. We talked about the teams in this division. Now we're going to talk about a couple interesting player props for this year. So, Quan, you got those player props that we want to talk about here? Let's throw those up on screen and go through these real quick. So the first one, interesting player prop I want to talk about here, Jalen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins. So Waddle was awesome last year in his rookie season, 104 catches, 1,015 yards. But here's the problem I have, right? You add Tyreek Hill to the mix here this year for the Miami Dolphins, and now you're going to have Jalen Waddle basically as a wide receiver too. So last year he had 140 targets. This year, the projection that we have over on FTN Fantasy is for 120 targets, which is about a 15% drop from the targets that he had last year. Now, if you take that 1,015 yards that he had last season and you take 15% off of that, that's going to be down to about 865, which is going to put him about 60 or 70 yards below this number right here. Now, one other thing I want to make sure everybody out there realizes too, when you look at these season-long props, the under tends to hit on these season-long props more than 2/3 of the time. I think it's actually closer to 70%. I would have to run the numbers again from last year. I don't have them all done yet, but it's close to 70% of the time these season-long props wind up in the under. So you have to absolutely love something to take an over here. If you already don't like it to go over just based on the projections that you have for a guy, then you definitely want to play the under, because remember, these numbers are maximized for these guys playing a full 16, 17 game season. If these guys get hurt or even miss a game or two here or there, or even like last year when Buffalo played New England in sub-zero weather, if you have one of those games where the weather's so bad that there's only 5 passes thrown, that could be enough to affect a guy that's that close to his number. So I really like the under here on Jalen Waddle at minus 115. DraftKings is the place that you can find this number. 925.5 under minus 115 for his yards for the season. FanDuel has it at minus 112, so you can get a little bit of a better payout if you play it over there, but I don't mind if you play it on either one of those. Throw the next one up here after that. The next one, maybe this is a homer pick, so I'm going to have to get Quan's thoughts on this when I'm done here. But obviously, my boy Breece Hall, running back for the New York Jets, RB1, arguably from what I'm hearing out of camp here as well, a guy who could be a 3-down back for them. Yes, they will mix in Michael Carter a little bit, But this is a guy who's going to be given the keys to the kingdom. He was one of those guys that scored off the charts with the Spark score at the draft combine this year, a guy that everybody is expecting to step in right away and take a very big role for the New York Jets. He is 9-1 to be the offensive rookie of the year, as low as 7-1 on some of the other books out there. So the 9-1 price we can get with him on FanDuel, the best price out there. And here's the biggest thing for me about why I like it this year. You know, you look at like 2015 to 2018, you had running backs every year. It was Todd Gurley. It was Ezekiel Elliott. It was Alvin Kamara. It was Saquon Barkley. 4 years in a row, we had those guys. Quarterbacks do tend to sneak in and win the award, but we don't have a very good quarterback class this year. I don't think a single one of these rookie quarterbacks is going to wind up starting in week 1 unless something crazy happens in the preseason here. You know, Kenny Pickett is probably the guy who is going to be the guy who plays the most as far as quarterbacks go that are rookies this year. But I'm not really worried about him at all. So I think this is a really good chance for Breece Hall to win the Rookie of the Year award here at 9-1, going up against a half dozen wide receivers who I think are going to be the only competition he has for this. Give me my boy 9-1. Finally, we get a Jet winning a postseason award. I like 9-1 on him to win there. And then let's go to the last one here, because this is the last thing I wanted to throw out there for people. Dawson Knox, one of my favorite anytime touchdown scorers of the 2021 season. 7 of the 15 games that Dawson Knox played in last year, Dawson Knox wound up finding the end zone. I think he finished with 9 touchdowns total, had a couple 2-touchdown games. That's why only 7 of 15 he scored. But his average price last year was over 200. It was an average price of plus 215 for him to score a touchdown. If you bet 1 unit on Dawson Knox to find the end zone every week of last season, he would have produced a 7.5 unit profit for you. And a unit is whatever your unit of betting is. If you're a big dog and you bet $1,000, every bet that you make, then you would have made $7,500 on Dawson Knox bets. If you're somebody who just throws $100 on it, you would have made $750 just betting Dawson Knox to score a touchdown every week of the season. He had the 9th most profitable number of all touchdown scorers last year. So, Quan, I gave you 3 right there. Jalen Waddle under on receiving yards, Breece Hall to win the Rookie of the Year, Dawson Knox anytime touchdown scores. Which one of those 3 are you most excited to bet for the
Benny? For my money, I'm going to sprinkle everything throughout the season on Dawson Knox. I know, like I said, man, if we're talking about the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl, we're talking about Josh Allen MVP. Dawson Knox is going to be a big part of that offense. He was a big part of that offense last year. So we got to pick and choose the games where, you know, we're going to get Dawson Knox in the end zone when we think the Bills are going to put up points. So, you know, plus 215, that'll give me a nice steak dinner somewhere when I hit it, you know, once every other game or so. So, yeah, that's where my money's going. We're going to hit anytime touchdowns this year.
Oh, yeah, we're going to hit anytime touchdowns a lot. And that's going to be what our Friday shows are about once the season starts. We're going to do a lot of stuff about anytime touchdown scores, a lot of stuff about yardage props for the week and things like that and matchups. So we're really going to get into it. But like always, I want to thank you guys for rocking with us here on Betting with Benny. Remember, if you're looking for some information, you can get over to FTN Fantasy if you're looking for that season-long help in your fantasy drafts. You can get over to FTN Daily if you're looking for that DFS help with DraftKings and FanDuel and, you know, all the other partners, Prize Picks, and everybody else that we work with on a weekly basis. Or get over to FTN Bets if, like Quan and I, you like dropping some money on whatever the fun thing to bet on this week is going to be. We'll have Monday Night Football stuff, Thursday Night Football stuff, ton of stuff for the weekend. And it's not just NFL. We also have MLB action going on, MMA action going on. Once those seasons start, we'll have NHL and NBA and everything else. So get over to FTN Bets. You can use promo code Benny. You might even get a little discount on whatever package you sign up on FTN Bets, on FTN Daily, or on FTN Fantasy. So for Quan, this is Benny signing off for Betting with Benny here at FTN Bets.